Reflecting back, would you change anything in your past?
I wish I could have done my whole college experience differently.
I wish somebody would have told me how fun sin could be. It took me by surprise, having a few drink or two, sin like smoking this or smoking that, sin like sleeping with women around, just sleeping around. Nobody told me that it would be like an adrenaline rush, like a roller coaster, like a really, really good time. And I wish somebody would have just explained to me that although it's a good time now, it won't be a good time later.
Are there any Christian teachings that are deal breakers for you in friendships?
You know, people believe that the earth is flat. Come on now.
When you don't give, like you're just about yourself and you're like greedy and you're money hungry, and you can see that in people. I cannot stand that.
How has your faith impacted your day-to-day life at work? Welcome to Sharp Podcast. I'm your co-host Jay.
I'm Frank.
And we are back.
Back.
We got another episode for you guys, and it is going to be dealing with our talking point cards. These are all a bunch of questions reflecting on our walks with Jesus.
Yeah.
And let's see how it goes.
All right, I'm going to have you ask the first one.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, because you have more today.
Okay, I'll ask the first one. Reflecting back, would you change anything in your past?
Reflecting back. Man.
It's a lot to reflect.
Wow. I know there's obviously things that you would want to. I'd say this is the one that I always like think of. And I don't know. I'm sure you have something way different and better. But
And better.
more juicy. More juicy. But no, I would say no, for me, I don't know why, but it always comes to mind. I wish I could have done my whole college experience differently. That's something I do regret.
That's good.
Because
That's good, Frank.
I do like the way things had turned out. It started off rocky. I wasn't sure. And then we went to Bible college together. And then I finished college somewhere else. So I had cool experiences. And I feel ultimately I ended up in the right place. But I would have loved to have done it completely different. Like I would have loved to have gone to a 4-year university. I would have loved to have gone to like a Christian university. Like some like Oral Roberts or something big like that.
Right.
Where you have like a biblical foundation, but then you also have the experiences of a large college university.
Right.
I don't feel like I experienced that. I feel like every college I went to was small, was intimate, everyone knew each other. But I just wonder what life would have looked like. I don't know if I would have been more into my studies. I don't know if I would have messed around, you know. I don't know what stories I would have had or where I would have ended up today. But that's one of my biggest regrets. I never took school serious, especially high school. Barely made it. You know, I had to go through community college first to get enough credits to find my way around. But that's the biggest thing because college is so important. You know, that's when you become an adult. So you can go work, you cannot go to school, you know, you can go to school. There's so many different ways and paths you could take.
Right.
So for me, I don't know, I wish I would have experienced a bigger college experience.
I didn't expect that answer from you. I thought you did great because you, in your process to get your master's.
Yeah, I got my master's.
You got your master's already.
I know, but see but that took me, I got my master's last year at 30.
So?
But I'm saying if I went to, like I also think, okay, if I went to a different college, what if I finished earlier? What if I got my master's at 24? I would have been 6 years into a established career making better money. I feel like I'm a little behind. But, you know, God's been good. He, you know, my pay has, but
y'all saw that, right?
Yeah, but I'm thankful. But yeah, I'm always like, man, what if it was sooner? Would I have a better house, a bigger house? Would I have a nicer car like a Tesla? I really want a Tesla one day. But
you want a Tesla?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like driving. So anything that will self-drive me, I'm into.
Really?
Maybe a chauffeur.
Well, they're coming out with a Tesla. Apparently, it's called a taxi
Yeah, I heard about that.
And it literally has no steering wheel. It's completely autonomous.
I would love that.
And it's affordable. They say it's like 40 grand when it comes out.
I might do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what about you?
Me, you know what? I think I would change that too. I wouldn't change the university that I went to, but I would change how I went about my experience there.
Okay.
Because when I was at school, I think I was very antisocial. I think I didn't like throw myself wholeheartedly into like the experience, like staying on campus and hanging out with all the people. Because when I was there, you knew my mentality. My mentality was like, I just want to graduate and get out of here. I think all you guys are losers. Leave me alone. And that was the wrong mentality.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to the gym. I'm gonna get a job. I'm gonna be out. I'm not gonna be hanging out with anybody here. And I wish I would have done things differently because there was some interesting people there that I probably could have befriended or learned from, or probably had experiences that would have prepared me more for the life ahead that I'm having now. So.
I would say though, you started to change towards the end.
I did?
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Because I remember, the library was so small. Do you remember that? Our library was so small, and I think me and you got bored. Like, I don't know, I think academically we were at the top, even though we didn't have to show, like,
We didn't have to try hard.
Yeah, and I think we were just, I don't know, everyone was kind of a little interesting. And, I don't know, I'm not trying to say that we were, it sounds like it, but I think that we were on another level.
Could be.
Not spiritually, but like interpersonally.
Yeah,
we were on another level.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think we even got bored to the point where the library was so small. Do you remember you said by the time we graduate, let's read every single book in this library?
We could have. Yeah.
That was crazy. We actually tried. We tried to read every single book in that library in 2 years.
It's pretty small. Yeah.
That was crazy. But that was like your faith. That was like your faith talk. At the same time, you were calling places about airplanes.
I still can't believe I was doing like.
Man, that was
I look
awesome.
back at that. I need that
was
back.
awesome.
I need that mentality back.
I like that.
Yeah, I need
that was
mentality
good.
Back. Yeah. So that's one thing I would change, but I will say one more thing. One thing I would definitely change, and some people say, "Oh, but these mistakes shape you and form who you are." That might be true, but I could have done without it. I wish somebody would have told me, and I've talked about this multiple times on the podcast, how fun sin could be. I wish somebody would have told me, like, okay, they told me sin leads to death, just like we just talked about in Romans 8. They told me sin is being at war with God. They told me sin is going to give you a lack of peace. They told me sin is war, with the spirit. They told me all these things. Nobody told me sin would be fun. Which is why it's tempting, because it is a good old time. Nobody told me that. It took me by surprise when I started doing sin like having a few drink or two, sin like smoking this or smoking that, sin like sleeping with women around, just sleeping around. Nobody told me that it would be like an adrenaline rush, like a roller coaster, like a really, really good time. And I wish somebody would have just explained to me that although it's a good time now, it won't be a good time later. Like there's practical consequences you will face 2, 3, 4, 10, 5 years later. So sin is you making an investment in the now, while righteousness is you making an investment in the later. Got it? I cannot tell you the things I psychologically have to persevere through, all because of the wild mistakes I made for back then, right now.
That's good.
And so I would change that, definitely.
That's so good. Me too.
I would definitely change that.
That's good. I like that.
You want to go
mine,
next?
I don't have an answer to this, but I know you do. You can share, and then I'm sure something will come. Mine says, are there any Christian teachings that are deal breakers for you in friendships?
There's a few.
I have one, but you go first. Mine's not as good as yours.
There's a few.
Well, share the one you had just mentioned.
Well, that's one of them. People believe that the earth is flat. Come on now.
I just don't. I think this. Someone had mentioned it to me, and I never looked it up, but I just use kind of logic, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, how does that make sense? And I would have to ask someone or someone in the comment if you believe the Earth's flat. Maybe respond. You guys respond on a lot of good things, but if the Earth is flat, how does the sun revolve around us? Does it go underground and come back? I don't get that.
Whoever is claiming
revolve?
that to be true seems to be obvious that they're not observing any kind of science going on that's matching what the scriptures say. You know, they're just reading and taking it up. It's just like the verse that says, if you have a problem with sin, pluck your eye out. You guys gonna do that too? You're gonna take the Bible for that word? No.
Yeah.
So there's that. There's a lot of, I'm starting to observe, especially on social media, crazy churches who believe homosexuality is not a sinful lifestyle.
Yeah.
That I completely disagree with.
I would agree.
There's a lot of Christians who believe abortion is okay, especially if it's done like in the first trimester.
No.
That I don't believe.
Me neither.
I don't believe in that. And I do realize these are very sensitive topics.
Yeah,
but this is just the truth, I believe, that matches the scriptures.
One for me that's probably not as, I don't know if anyone would say it, but for me, because it says friendships, right? So friendship is like you really knowing the person and having a good relationship, okay? I honestly think for me, if my friends don't give
what?
I'm talking finances.
Oh, okay.
Like, not to me, but like if I know you're plugged into a church and you don't give to your church, or like, okay,
how are you ever gonna know that though?
No, but that's because the real way a Christian friendship should develop and the way it's supposed to be is that we understand all areas of our lives. We're doing life together. So real Christian.
Nobody talks about that though.
But I feel like, okay, if I look at,
do people talk about that?
I do with some of my friends. Like, I'm sure me and my brother-in-law, we're close. Me and you, we talk about things like that. Like, I think there's a lot.
Hurting me.
There's a lot of aspects of our friendship that you get to know deeper.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I know you as, it doesn't only have to be a church. So like I was saying, like, I know you're a Christian, right? But I know, okay, even if you weren't a part of a church for a time and maybe you weren't tithing, but I know that in a way there's a part of your life where you were being generous to some extent. Right. Like because when you don't give, like, you're just about yourself and you're like greedy and you're money hungry, and you can see that in people. I cannot stand that. Like, even when we would go out to eat, you'd be generous to cover a meal, Or like we did that thing where we guessed which card and the person had to pay and stuff. That was fun. But you can see that. Like, I have another friend that I'm not going to name, but you know him. It starts with the G. But I know that he's a giver as well. Like, he's not at a church, but I know, like, the way he handles his money and the way
he has a generous heart.
Like, he has a generous heart. When I'm around people, like, you can tell just the way they talk, the way they act, like, they're so stingy with their money. And to me, it's like, one, biblically, we're supposed to be givers. Right. But two, I can tell just by your fruit. So to me, that's a deal breaker. It's like, nah, I don't want to be around, because you become who you hang around with. And if you get around the wrong person, you can be like, in a bad mood. Oh, well, I'm not going to give, and I don't want any part of that. That's just me. Yeah. I mean, you take it as you want. But no, that's just me.
That's a good one. I mean, if I had something similar to that, I would say, to me, it's like a kind of a red flag when people aren't cool with their family for petty reasons. Oh yeah. Like, oh, she said something about my kids last time I was over there, and I haven't talked to them in 7 years. Or something like that. Like, I'd be like, that's wild. What, you haven't talked to your mom in 7 years? Because she said feeding them terrible food. Like, what? Yeah. What?
Yeah, that's probably another one for me.
That'd be wild to me. I'm like, that's your only sibling or parent or whatever. So I'd be like, red flag.
No, for real.
That's good. Yeah.
What other one do you have?
All right. What is your favorite way to connect with God? And in parentheses, it has prayer, reading, singing.
Favorite way to connect with God.
You be singing?
No, I don't be. I I think one way for me it's reading my word.
Okay.
I'm trying to develop a better prayer life where it's not just going to pray, but it's throughout the day being conscious of my relationship with God and listening when He talks to me.
Yeah.
But for me, it's reading the Word. Like I'll get in the Word, even if it's my devotional, and I'll really read and I'll like meditate and I'll even ask questions, and that's when I feel like I just like I don't know. That's when I really feel Him answer. And so it's so good. Like I was just reading in my in my devotional, in Numbers, and it was two things that hit me, and I was like, you know, when you read and you never really notice it.
Yeah.
One of them was just Moses. Like when they were complaining, they wanted some meat, and God gave them quail. You know, Moses' attitude changed the way he was talking to God. At first, it was more of like he would talk, he would receive, you know, he would obey. But in this moment when they complained, they complained. So his prayer and attitude towards God was angry. And I was just like, dang, like that's...
these people that you've given me are complaining.
Yeah, and I was like, man, that's crazy how it's so evident when you get around the wrong people. Like that affects also your relationship with God. And so that was one thing. But then also when they went into the land to spy the land, God asked them, He says, go scout the land and tell me like what's the produce like, what are the people like, this and that. And they come back and they answer His questions, and when they're reporting to Moses, but they say, oh, the people are big and they're strong. But that all He said was just report on this. But then when He's like, let's go take them, right? The other people are like, oh, we're going to get destroyed, this and that. And it's like, man, God never asked what you thought. He just said, report on this. And so those are times like when I'm reading my word, I feel like God really speaks and connects to me. And He's like, man, look, like this word is it's so alive and it's so true. And I really feel like, man, he speaks to me about these things. Like there's always a lesson to learn if we can just be quiet and hear.
That's so good. Yeah. Well, those are good words, but
because how many times, you know, maybe He's asking you a question and you don't give a straight answer. You give your feelings or your perspective. He's like, I didn't ask for that.
Happens often in my life.
Same here.
Happens often in my life. Yeah.
Just answer the question.
Yeah. That's not the script, brother. Not the script.
Yeah.
No, that's good. Okay. I like that. So I will say something practical. Okay, what's your favorite way to connect with God? Okay, something practical I remember about my walk with God was that I used to think you couldn't pray like on your own. It felt illegal in my like brain, in my psyche, to pray unless I was kneeling down.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, isn't that strange? But I just always imagine like, and I got to see growing up these pastors that I admire and my parents, and whenever they would pray, they'd do it kneeling down. And so I was like, man, I got to pray kneeling down. I got to be down here. But for some reason, I don't know. That hasn't been the most effective way that I feel like I've been heard from God.
Yeah.
It's just a feeling. But when I go for a walk outside, and I know nobody's looking at me, and I get to walking and talking to God, I feel the most heard. I feel the most fulfilled. I feel like I actually received something from that prayer. And by the way, I know I'm communicating with God because when I get on my knees, I probably pray for 10 minutes. But when I'm walking, I could go for 2 hours. There's like an endurance to me walking. And so since I used to see like praying in this religious way, like kneeling down, now it's like my favorite way to connect with God is like, I want to go for a walk.
Yeah, that's so good.
I want to go for a walk. I'll check out a verse on my phone, and then I'll just zone out. I'll be like, what do you mean by this? I want you to talk to me. The Bible says, come to me and let us reason together. You said you wanted this kind of communication, so talk, speak up for yourself, And I'll go for a walk, and I'll be hearing stuff in my own head. Holy Spirit just speaking to me practically.
No, that's so true. When I before I got married, I was living at my parents' house, and when I would have to like share a message, preach, teach, whatever, do something, and I would prepare. And I felt like, no, I'm not, that's not it yet. Like, I feel so confused, so lost. I would go on walks, and they would always help me. Like, walking and praying was the best way too for me to just like hear him.
Oh yeah, more. There's something about walking, bro. Yeah. Like, the biggest compliment the Bible gives to Enoch, which I'm fascinated about, was that he walked with God, then got taken up. You know, so obviously they're talking about spiritually, but why not do it practically?
That's good.
Yeah.
You got one more? Let's do one more.
I got one more. This one's pretty good.
All right.
How has your faith impacted your day-to-day life at work?
Oh, wow. Well, that's a good question, and I can answer it quickly. Because I do this. For me, one, it's the way I interact with the students and like my colleagues. I really try to be patient. I try to express, the fruit of the Holy Spirit in my life. So, patient, kindness, patience, or I said patience, but love, gentleness, all that good stuff. So, if it's like a coworker and they're pissed and they're trying to vent to you, I'm not going to talk negative with them. I try to give them a different perspective, or I try to calm them down. Or like a student, I know what they need. Like some students, they need to have affirmations. Some, you need encouragement. Some need discipline. You know what I'm saying? So that's the way I show it. But then also like, on my break, on my prep period, my lunch, things like that, when I get there early, I have a routine. I get to work. I have a prayer confession. I have a devotional that I read. And then I have like a 3-day-a-week devotional. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'll read it. Then I'll do some prayer. And then I'll listen to some worship music. But I have these routines because, like, for me as a Christian, I want to be in the Word and I want to be with God throughout my day. And so if I do it just in the morning, I can go the whole day not intentional. Right. So, I'm trying to start my morning at 5 a.m. Then when I get to work about 7:30, I have another. And then at lunch. And then when I get home. And then in the evening.
That's good.
So I try to have something frequently.
Yeah.
Because I don't know about you, but man, if I just, say I do it only in the morning and I get busy the whole day, I'll go by 8 p.m. and I'm like, man, God, forgive me. I haven't even thought of you today. That's not a good feeling.
Absolutely.
It's not a good feeling.
No, it's not. That's good, Frank. I like that.
What about you? Yours is a little different, right? With work.
Faith impacting your day-to-day work. Okay, so, I will say there's a lot of times people commit crimes while I'm at work.
I'm sorry.
And they could be petty crimes. And I'm supposed to take some action. And, but yeah, the way my faith impacts me in that moment is like, God tells me, you're a criminal too, fool.
Yeah.
You just like him. Like, or people will be talking about somebody they see at work. They got all this wrong in their record and they've done this and they've done that. And it's so easy for the Holy Spirit in me to say, that's you, fool. Like, you're just as bad. What are you talking about, all these people?
Yeah.
That's you. And so there never goes a week without that reminder being there. Because there's always somebody at work talking about, look at how long his record is. Look at how bad this guy is. Look what he did. And obviously, the Holy Spirit's got to interject, be like, George, don't you participate in that conversation, boy. You know you. If everybody could record all your thoughts and all the things you've ever done, and you could have a speaker to all the bad things, you wouldn't even be talking right now. And so that's one way my faith impacts me at work big time. And another way is, just not participating in how my coworkers cope with the mental trauma they got to deal with. They cope with it in different ways. Some of them cope with it through drinking. Some of them cope with it through gossip. Some of them cope with it through just different forms. And I just don't participate. Yeah. It's not because I think I'm holy. It's because it's tempting to me and it's something I have to avoid. And so everybody knows, like, you can invite me to the party. I might show up to the party. I might not. But if I go, I'm not going to be there long, and I ain't going to be drinking with y'all. I'm going to grab me a burger and fries and head out, So these are like a few different methods at work that are like extremely important to be aware of, because I have the kind of job that can consume you, you know,
it can.
form your identity. And,
That's good.
So yeah.
That was good. I like that one.
Yeah, that was good. All right. It's a good episode.
Yeah. Well, like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you next episode.
Love y'all. Praying for y'all.
Yes, sir.
If you have any prayer requests, leave them in the comments.
Yes. We'll see you guys. Peace.
Deuces.